Good evening, everybody. It's like 1:20 in the morning. It's the Glamorous Granny. I haven't been on here a while, so I'm trying to fix my straps, but I guess that don't matter. It does matter. But hi, everybody. I haven't been on here in almost 5 months, I think. I'm about to read to you Solid Like a Rock. Reasons to Help. Reason 7 to help you become stronger. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. We're used to the idea that the difficulties of life make us stronger. There's just one problem with this. If I tell you that you're going through some serious difficulty so you can become stronger, you're going to want to know stronger how? How? You ask yourself. When I talk to people who finally understood that the true reasons why something had happened to them was to help them become stronger, they all said that the reason was to make me stronger in a very specific way. Hmm. Their loss or ordeal not only gave them a specific strength, it gave them just the strength they were needing to take the next step in their lives. Maybe something happened to test their patience, but it taught them how to be patient. And that was perfect because they were about to become new parents. Maybe something happened that made them regret terribly that they hadn't listened to themselves, but that made them see how essential it is for them to listen to themselves whenever they make a decision. And that was just what they needed to deal with at the time of change in their lives. Maybe they had a heart disease or cancer scare, but that forced them to start exercising, eating better, generally taking good care of their bodies. And that was just what they needed going into middle age. Next is why shouldn't your life be filled with gifts? 3 weeks after graduating from college, Sandy married the guy she'd been dating for the past 4 years. 10 years later, she realized she spent all the time with a boring guy she didn't love and who didn't make her happy. She knew her relationship was over, and yet she couldn't end it. What held Sandy back was her sense of meaninglessness of it all. Could she really have thrown away her 20s by being with the wrong guy? Wasting time. Stop wasting time with people that don't really want to be with you. Sandy felt that she had to stay in a relationship just to avoid the sense that she'd wasted all those years for no good reason. That's how it is for many of us until we find a way to tap into the meaning of the events in our lives. We can't trust ourselves or our futures, and so we're paralyzed. Sandy had talked to her friends endlessly about her marriage. When she said there was nothing there for her, they encouraged her to leave. When she said she hated the thought that it was all such a waste, that they said maybe she should stick around and try to make it work. Sandy felt utterly confused. Finally, Sandy decided to talk to her grandmother about her dilemma. This was a big step because her grandmother was the family matriarch. She come alone to the United States from China in her early 20s. She built a small but successful wholesale business importing Chinese handcrafts for sale to gift shop. Sandy remembered working as a child in her grandmother's showroom, setting up displays, and even when she knocked over a carefully arranged pile of merchandise, her grandmother had never gotten mad at her. Sandy's grandmother was similarly unperturbed when Sandy told her about her iffy marriage. She got right to the point. You should be happy. Why live if you can't be happy, right? And you're a beautiful girl. You can easily find someone who will make you happy, but if you know why you can't make yourself leave your husband, you think, what a waste. All those years. And you don't want to think that. But I don't think those years were wasted. I think they were a gift. I remember when you were in high school and college, no self confidence. That's what I saw. When you were 19, it was like you were 9. I remember thinking, okay, it's going to take my little Sandy a long time to become a woman who feels strong enough to stand on her own 2 feet. And now here you are, and you think your marriage was such a waste and so meaningless. Why are you so sure it was meaningless? What if it was a gift for you? Just a gift you were needing. And her grandmother made a sweeping gesture as if to say, why just look at all the gifts that fill this room? Why shouldn't your life be filled with gifts? Hmm. How was it a gift for me, Sandy asked, to throw away my 20s with a husband who wasn't right for me? And there, no children, and we have no future. You're so close minded, her grandmother said. So sad for someone so young. But suppose you'd been saved from this hell. Suppose that little 9-year-old girl in a 19-year-old woman's body, a woman with no self confidence, had spent all those years going out with different boys. I was young. I was a young woman. I know what it's like when you have no confidence. Men can take all your energy. You were such a scared little girl, and then you would have had your heart broken. All of these different boyfriends. Where would your self confidence have been then? But you were very smart, even though you think you were stupid. You said, okay, if I'm so insecure, let me buy myself some time. How smart you were. You got got yourself married, and that made you free of all the worry and insecurity you would have had to face as a single woman. What have you spent the last 10 years doing? I'm very proud of you. You're very successful at your work. You concentrated on your work because you were free, and because you were married. Your marriage gave you the strength you needed to be successful at work. That gave you the foundation you needed, the confidence you've gotten from being successful at work has given you the strength you needed to seek the right man. See, aren't you a smart girl? For the first time, Sandy felt that she could see past the cliche when all her friends had said everything happens for a reason. It wasn't a cliche. If there really was a reason, and her grandmother had shown Sandy the reason. Ooh, my necklace. Why hadn't she been able to see it for herself? Like many of us, Sandy was trapped by thinking that bad events only have negative meanings. She looked at something bad that had happened to her like it was a bad tree that can only bring forth bad fruit. But the events in our lives that we're trying to make sense of are not the tree. The tree is our lives themselves. And over, I've seen that our lives were designed to bring forth good fruit. A firmer foundation. The best way to know that the events in our lives are bringing forth good fruit is to look at what we need. Sandy needed the opportunity and the time to strengthen her self confidence. Maybe these some There's some specific way you needed to become stronger. And maybe your life has already given it to you. Do you fall into these categories? Here's how you can tell for sure. Answer the following diagnostic questions. Have you ever had more than your share of loss in your life? Has low self esteem been an issue for you? Do you have trouble identifying things in your life that can't be taken away from you? Has it been your experience that the most things in life are imperative relationship, friends, jobs, and so on? Do you feel you're under serious threat for losing what you have? Are you hungry to have something in your life that you're really good at? Have you felt there's something important missing at your core? Do you feel that your ability to move forward in your future is blocked? A yes answer to four or more of these questions revealed that there is a reason for what happened to you, and it's to help you become stronger in a specific way. And this is true no matter what the event was, because the meaning of an event comes from who you are and what you need, not from the event itself. How I can say that these questions determine whether the meaning of some event is to give you a way to become stronger. I've talked to many people who discovered that becoming stronger was the meaning of what happened to them, and they, too, would have answered yes to four or more of these questions. Most people are stronger than they think. We get scared, overwhelmed, and sad. And all these emotions make us think we're weak. But occasionally, they even knock us flat on our back. But then recover, we cope, we triumph. Don't let your feelings make you think you're weaker than you are. Yet, many of us still need to become strengthened. Here's why. A foundation is a springboard. We need to become stronger because we need more of a foundation. A foundation gives you a basis for something else above and beyond it. Just as the concrete foundation under your house is the basis for your house, certain foundational tennis skills are basis of your tennis game. Having a good foundation in people skills is a part of the basis for a successful career in business. So, you may have needed to have your foundation strengthened in a certain way because you needed a basis for doing something brand new, or because you've never had a basis for doing something that's very important to you. And that's why things happen to us sometimes, to give us a special strength that makes a new future possible. Growing up is a lifelong process for everyone. I know people in their 80s and 90s who are still picking up missing pieces in their development. And unfortunately, over and over again, life comes to you your aid just when you need it. When Sandy, for example, became an adult, her self confidence was still in work of progress. Cosmic kindergarten came to her aid. It made it possible for Sandy to build up her confidence at work. And this gave her just enough of overall sense of confidence to be able to go forward and find the kind of relationship she wanted. When you think of the things you're trying to do now and all the things that may be important for you to do in the future, is it takes a pretty broad foundation to support all of that. So it's not surprising that there be a part of your foundation that needs strengthening. What part? Any part. It might be something incredibly specific. For example, your father was transferred to Paris when you were a teenager, and you spent 4 miserable years, your precious high school years, going to school in France. But everything happens for a reason. You learn French really well. That might not seem like a big deal foundation wise, but somehow it got into you a really good college and opened the door to a career in international law, which was exciting and suited you perfectly. It might be putting your life on a more solid footing. Joe's company transferred him to a facility in an isolated rural environment. For 6 years, he thought he'd go out of his mind because there was nothing to do. Why am I being punished like this? He asked himself over and over again, but everything happens for a reason. And it turns out that 6 years of nothing to do is 6 years of no way to spend your money. For the first time in his life, Joe was able to save considerable amount of money, giving his financial foundation he never had before. It might be developing an inner strength. One woman I know grew up with a father who drank and then had to watch her older brothers get in trouble as they became heavy drinkers. She lived for years with all the misery and suffering, but everything happens for a reason. She saw that people needed a foundation of happiness under them, and that, in fact, happiness is a choice. She saw the men in her life choosing to be miserable, and that gave her an amazing strength. It made it possible for her to choose to be happy, a choice she continued to make every single day from the point that point on. Foundational strengths are the seeds of the new futures. But what future? How do you discover what happened to you strengthens you in a way that gives you a new future? Something that can never be taken from you. Adam, 29 years old, was a patient of mine. He was quite pleasant, compact, thoughtful man, just beginning a career as an art historian at a major university. He came to see me because he was going through a crisis that took him unaware. Excuse me. I liked him immediately. He recently married a woman he loved very much, and with him, he was looking forward to building a family. But after the wedding, he found himself starting to get depressed and unaccountable, resisting the idea of their having children. Why is this happening to me? He asked me. This goes on all the time in my work with people. They wake up one day to find themselves tied in a knot, and they come to me to figure out how everything got so knotty, what they can do about it. We take it for granted that everyone has a childhood of some sort. Adam missed most of his childhood because he was born with multiple congenital heart problems that were that were misdiagnosed and mistreated at an early stage. From the ages of 5 to 11, Adam was semi invalid. He was unable to go to school or play outdoors with other children. It was as if life had a huge hole in it. Like most kids, Adam eventually got used to the hand he'd been dealt growing up. Entering the new wife's family, however, reminded him how much he missed. There were all the stories and home movies of his wife, his sisters playing actively as kids. As he put it, the more time I spent with my wife's family, the bluer I got. It's like I never realized how much I'd lost. I had to go through mourning all over again, but it was the kind of loss that seems permanent and unhealable. Every time I saw my wife's family, I'd be reminded of what I never gotten. He paused. And what I still need. Adam tried to put it all in perspective for me. I don't feel sorry for myself, but here's the thing. For me, there's still this mystery. I compare my non-childhood with my wife's wonderful childhood. Can it mean nothing? Why not try this? I suggested. Hold on. What if we only think we don't know the reason why something happened to us? Like you're losing all of the years growing up. What if deep down we do know and we show that we know by the way we live? Suppose we looked at what you're doing in your life now and said that's where you'll find the answer to the question. What did you learn from all of this? When you see what you learned, you'll see the reason why you went through what you did. What did I learn? Adam thought for the moment. Sometimes I think I never outgrew the picture books I read when I was a little kid stuck in the bed. By the time I was in college, I'd come to love painting. And I took this little introductory art history course, and the woman who taught it knew every painting that had ever been painted and how all the artists were influenced by other artists. And I thought, wow, that's what I want to do with my life. You get to look at all these beautiful paintings and you know everything. My colleagues really loved art too. But the fact that there's so much to know, they find kind of annoying and overwhelming to me. That's what I love about it. Okay, so when you know everything about art history, well, so what? I keep going back to my professor who knew everything. They're like a rock. They're so solid. If you have a theory, someone can prove your theory wrong. But if you know every image created by Raphael and Rembrandt and hundreds of painters no one's ever heard of, they can never be taken from me. Never. And that's and the tears started rolling down Adam's cheek. Now quickly say the first thing that comes into your mind. The reason I lost my childhood was what? The reason I lost my childhood was to teach me that I can lose almost anything, but there have to be something that I could never lose, like really knowing something. And I better have as many of those things in my life as I can. So I'll still be strong in a way that can't be taken away from me. Suddenly he was silent. It hit him that he found what he'd been looking for. So that's a very special meaning to the knowledge you acquired, doesn't it? It must be why I'm still so hungry to know everything about art. Every time I learn something I didn't know before, I feel safer and stronger. We're not done, Adam. Why you? I mean, what what is it about you that you would make this so important to you? I was this kid, skinny, short, dark little boy, and I was very quiet. I did well with my schoolwork, but I wasn't special. My worst fear was that I'd never be good at anything. It's like that was the big question. Was I going to be somebody in my parents' eyes or nothing? We think sometimes like that. And that was very intimidating. I think the difference now is that I don't think about being special or wonderful. The pressure's off. There's just art. It's beautiful and interesting, and I love it. But I needed a solid foundation, something like the dikes the Dutch built to hold the sea. My foundation would hold back my sense of loss. It would be insurance against loss. You can't lose knowledge. You can't lose what's up here. So the reason you lost your childhood, I said, was to learn how important it is to really know something. Because then you had a strength that could never be taken from you. Yes. Yeah. I think that's what this gave me. And I think that if that hadn't happened, then maybe I'd been one of those people who just wanted to be special. I know a lot of people like that in the art world, and deep down, they're in despair because they know they're not really very special. But if you know something or know how to do something, it could be knowing how to bake bread, anything. It's so real and solid. You never have to worry about how special you are. Read the section of read all that. Well, we read all that. We've read Solid as a Rock, Reason 7 to help you become stronger. Then we went to the section, the firmer foundation. The foundation is a springboard and something that can never be taken from you. Remember, I'm going to repeat it. Sorry about that. And everything happens for a reason. We read section 7. I'm about to go back. Um, Solid as a rock. Reason 7 to help you become stronger. Why shouldn't your life be filled with gifts? Ask yourself that question. A firmer foundation. A foundation is a springboard and something that can never be taken away. Remember to smile, study with excitement, meditate with intentions, inspire others, laugh hysterically, and elevate yourself to the highest potential. And remember to be grateful for what you have, not what you don't have. Peace and good night. From everything happens for a reason.